This right here is a very tasty and very fruity little number. Let me show you how to make an apricot whiskey smash. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Matt, I'm the Whiskey Nerd, and like I said, today I'm making a fruity little number. I'm making an apricot whiskey smash, and this cocktail, it's sort of like a cross between a highball and a smash because I will be lengthening it up with some soda water, but it also has some nice muddled fruit at the bottom to give it a really nice, bright, refreshing flavour to it. And I got the idea for this cocktail when I reviewed this whiskey right here. This is the Apricot Brandy finished whiskey from 2 Stacks Irish Whiskey. If you want to see a review of that whiskey, there'll be a link up there, there'll be a link down below. But essentially what this whiskey is a very nice complex Irish blend made up of 40% single grain that was aged in virgin oak casks, 40% single grain that was aged in ex-bourbon casks, 8% pot still aged in Oloroso sherry casks, 10% double distilled malt in bourbon casks, 2% peated malt for a little bit of smoke that was aged in bourbon casks, but then it was all blended together and finished off in an apricot brandy cask from the Gallo kind of vineyard, the Gallo Brandy company, and that gave it this really nice, I'm just going to have to go in for a little bit of a smell. It gave it this really nice, rich, fruity flavour, and I wanted to highlight that in a cocktail without that fruity cocktail, without that fruity note getting lost in the cocktail behind a bunch of other ingredients. So I figured a smash/highball would be a good way to highlight it. So in terms of my ingredients, I will have some of this lovely apricot brandy finished whiskey. I will have a little bit of lemon juice to add a bit of brightness and a bit of zing. I'll have about 3/4 of an apricot that'll go in there. I'll muddle it down. That'll give me some nice fruity notes and some fruity flavour to it. I'll also have some mint to give it a bit of freshness, a bit of zing. A bit of mint always adds a nice bit of flavour to these kind of summery, bright, highball, smash kind of cocktails. And at the end, I'm going to lengthen it a little bit with some soda water, just some plain sparkling water, because already enough sweetness there, but I'll give it a bit of length, a bit of body, and those bubbles will give it a nice bit of effervescence, so when you go to drink the cocktail, you get a really nice kind of flavour on the approach. And that is enough time talking about the cocktail. I think it's time we make it. It is going to be a shake and drink up front, so we're going to get our shaker tin, and I'm going to pop in about 3/4 of an apricot there. I've already taken the pip out in the middle. I'm just going to pop that into the bottom of my shaker tin. I'm going to muddle it up nice and quickly to get all the juices out of the fruit there and get a really nice fresh note into our cocktail. So just going to muddle this down. You don't have to go too hard, you don't have to do too far, because we are going to be shaking with ice, and that'll help pulverize that fruit a little bit more. But I just wanted to give it a quick little start with my little muddler. Then I'm going to go in with not 1, not 2, not 5, but 4 leaves. 1, 2, 3, 4 of mint. Now, you don't want to add the mint before you muddle, because if you muddle mint, you shred it, and you get all these little bits in the cocktail, and while yeah, that might give it a lot of flavour, when you drink it, you'll end up with little bits of mint in your teeth, and that's not what you want. So generally, if you're making a cocktail, muddle, then add your mint. Then I'm going to pop in a nice rock of ice into the top of there and measure out my ingredients, starting off with my 2 Stacks not single grain, 2 Stacks blended whiskey that was finished off in that apricot brandy cask. Going to go in with 1.5 ounces or 45 ml of this whiskey. This does come in at 50% alcohol by volume, or like 100 proof, so it does have a nice bit of weight to it. If you can't get this whiskey, you could use a normal kind of whiskey. You could use whatever one you wanted. You'll still get a lot of apricot notes, but for me, I really wanted to highlight the notes from the whiskey, so I'm using that one. Then I'm going to go in with 15 ml, just 15 ml of my freshly squeezed lemon juice. That'll give us, like I said, a nice bit of freshness, a bit of tartness, a bit of contrast to the sugary sweetness from that apricot. So I'm just going to bang the lid on, bang it down, shake away for about 30 seconds just to get everything mixed and to get all that minty flavour into the cocktail. Okay, I think that is nicely mixed now, so I'm going to bang the top off my cocktail shaker. It's got a really good note to it, and I'm ready to pour it out. So I'm going to strain it out into a nice chilled tall highball glass, and I'm going to pop a spear of ice into there, just so I've got a nice kind of length to the cocktail. I've got a nice bit of ice to it to keep it nice, cold and refreshing. So pop my Hawthorne strainer up top to catch all the little bits of fruit. I want to let a little bit through, so I'm not going to double strain it, but I just want to get as much of that pulp out as possible while still letting a little bit of it come through into the final cocktail. Just like that, into there. Then we're not fully finished yet because, like I said, we're going to be topping it up with a little bit of soda water. This is just like plain old club soda, sparkling water, just into there, just to give us a nice bit of length to the cocktail, because it is going to be quite strong otherwise. So I can pop my straw in, give it a quick mix, and then for a garnish I'm going to go in with my sprig of mint. And remember how I only used 3/4 of that apricot from earlier? I've got the last quarter here. Just pop it over the edge, just cut a little slit into it, just like that. And that right there is how I make an apricot whiskey smash. Now real quick, before I taste this cocktail, if you're new here, scroll down, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button. I put out whiskey reviews, like the review on that Apricot Brandy finished whiskey every Wednesday, and I put out cocktail recipes like this featuring whiskey every Friday. So if you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and let me know down in the comments below if there's any cocktails you think I should make in future. But for now, let's taste this one. Cheers. That is lovely. That is really nice. So one thing that always surprises me about this blended whiskey, so like I said earlier, there's 2% of the blend is peated malt, so it has a bit of smoke to it, and that does actually carry through into the whiskey. Oh, it's only 2%, but it does give you a little bit of smoke. And even here, with that fruit, with that mint, with the apricot, with the lemon juice, with the lengthening out with the soda water, you still get that little touch of smoke, but it's not enough to like, it doesn't make it a smoky cocktail. It just gives it like an earthy balance, because with that fresh apricot, you got a lot of fruit, the mint, you got this bright herbal note, and then the lemon juice gives you that citrusy zing. So having that little bit of peat, having that whiskey gives a really nice earthy counterpoint. It just makes it for a very refreshing, very tasty, and like I said, very fruity little number. So I'm gonna keep on enjoying it, and I'll see you next time. Sláinte.